Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Independence to each and every one of us. Thank you for joining us.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, yes, you're loud and clear. We can hear you. We can hear you now.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adekoya Dodson. I'm a volunteer at Anniversary Talk, and I welcome you to our third anniversary. For the first timers and people that join us, our guests and people joining us for the first time, you might be wondering what Anniversary Talk is all about. We are an environmental organization that are committed to protecting our planet through education and communication initiatives. Our main mission is to raise awareness about environmental issues and promote environmental sustainability. And we all know that the environment is everyone's responsibility. So in that light, we try to include our younger generations by organizing programs such as the Green Challenge, which is a quiz competition, one of its kind for secondary school pupils. There, we try to educate them and test their knowledge on their environment. We're a small organization and we hope to expand. So I'm imploring you to kindly volunteer to join our organization. And I hope you enjoy the program. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Yeah, like from the introduction, our main goal is just to make environmental education the key to sustainable development, not only in Lagos, in Nigeria, and the globe generally. We welcome each and everyone on the call. We want you to introduce yourself. Let's know you, the organization you are joining, where you are joining us from in different parts of the world. And also let's know your background. Apart from creating environmental education, we want to have a database of environmental professionals in Lagos and in Nigeria so that we can share the interaction and see how we make the environment better for each and every one of us. Thank you all for joining us once again. My name is Lasisi Adedoyin. I'm one of the volunteers also in the program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me?
Hello, sir.
My name is Fadun Sinadidayo. I'm also a volunteer at the ECHO Enviro Talk. I'll be giving the overview of our organization. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes,
we can hear you. Go on.
Yes. For those of you who might be wondering what we stand for and what we have been doing over the years, we're a national non-profit organization, and we're founded in 2021 under the able leadership of our EMSMAN, Mr. Lasisi Adedoyin, ably supported by Ms. Wande Seriki. We are dedicated to the noble cause of preserving and protecting our planet. Our environmental organization is deeply committed to this mission, which we pursue through a variety of education and communication initiatives designed to engage and inform the public. If you have been following us recently, we have been organizing programs, educative programs for secondary school students and also kids. We organize quiz competition, we organize debates, and we organize forum where we discuss national and environmental issues. Our mission is to raise awareness about critical environmental issues and promote sustainable practices that help mitigate these challenges. So we don't just discuss the challenges, we provide the solutions by involving experts in different areas and fields. We strive to inspire individuals and communities to take meaningful actions towards creating a greener and more sustainable future. And we do this by fostering a sense of responsibility and empowerment. We aim to drive collective efforts that lead to significant and environmental improvements. Environmental education and communication are the heart of our organization's strategy. We believe that by providing accessible and engaging information, we can inspire positive change and encourage people to adopt more sustainable lifestyles. Our efforts are focused on making environmental knowledge widely available and easy to understand, ensuring that everyone has the opportunity to learn about the importance of sustainability. Through our comprehensive education programs, we aim to equip people with the knowledge and tools that they need to make environmentally conscious decisions. These programs are designed to be both informative and engaging, helping participants to develop a deeper understanding of the environmental issues and the actions they can take to address them. Our initiative includes a wide range of activities, from interactive seminars and lectures to hands-on field trips. These experiences are crafted to provide participants with practical insights and first-hand exposure to environmental challenges and solutions. By combining theoretical knowledge with real-world experiences, we aim to foster a holistic understanding of sustainability. We have developed a variety of education programs that have already made a significant impact. These initiatives are tailored to different audiences, ensuring that everyone from students to professionals can benefit from our resources. Our programs cover a broad spectrum of topics, including climate change, conservation, renewable energy, waste management, among others. In summary, our organization is dedicated to preserving and protecting our planet through education and communication initiatives. We are committed to raising awareness about environmental issues, promoting sustainable practices, and inspiring individuals and communities to take actions. Through our comprehensive educational programs and communication efforts, we aim to create a more sustainable society by equipping people with the knowledge and tools they need to make a positive impact on our environment. And to wrap up this overview, I would like to share with you all why I decided to be a volunteer with this wonderful organization. I usually frequent LinkedIn app, and I saw that Mr. Lasisi, who happens to be the helmsman of this initiative, he always posted things about the environment, about sustainability, And I just kept wondering, who is this person that is so passionate and energetic about sustainability? And I just gave it some time to look at his posts. And one day I was moved to appreciate him. I was moved to just engage him in discussion. And I asked him, why are you so passionate about the environment? And he shared with me some wonderful tips. In fact, that very day I told him I was signing up as a volunteer. And for this reason, I'm here as an active volunteer. I want to enjoin you if you're passionate about the environment, I also want to enjoin you to join us in this drive towards environmental sustainability. Thank you very much. My name is Fadun C. Adibai.
Thank you very much, Mr. Adidayo, for your overview. So moving on in the agenda, I will be taking the milestone of Eco-Enviro Talk in 3 years. I'm Wande Seriki, and I'm a volunteer with Eco-Enviro Talk. Please give me a minute to share my screen, and we'll move right into it. Thank you. Again, I want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining the 3rd anniversary commemoration of Eco-Enviro Talk. We're indeed glad, and in doing this, it dawned on me that we've actually done so much in a short time. And I'm just really proud of the work that how far we've come. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has been part of the journey, our viewers. We do not have a program without you. And I'll just move right into it. So in 2021, Eco-Enviro Talk was initiated. The idea was initiated, and we had our very first program on the 1st of October 2021. And the first knowledge product that we launched was Lagos Environment Lecture Series. And till date, we've had 6 series of that. And I'm sure a lot of you here have been part of those series. So in 2021 up until 2022, the only product that we're bringing out was Lagos Environment Lecture Series. And 2022, same day again, was the first anniversary. In 2023, we then launched Continuous Environmental Education for Professionals. This is a training. We thought that it's necessary as professionals to constantly improve our knowledge base, equip ourselves with up-to-date trainings, and also make readily available trainings that are otherwise that might be expensive and make it readily accessible to professionals. And that was why we launched environmental education for professionals. So this is basically to break that bias that will bring trainings more accessible to professionals, particularly for environmental professionals. And then up to date, we've had 5 trainings. In 2023, on Earth Day, to commemorate Earth Day, we launched the Youth Video Competition. This is a competition that helps young people, particularly secondary school students, to look inwards, think about the environment, and then use their skills and their creativity to communicate the problem, the challenges, and then the solution that they would prefer to environmental challenges. And that is what Youth Video Competition is about. And this product was launched on Earth Day to commemorate the Earth Day, and till date, we've had 2 editions of that. Also in 2023, we launched Green Challenge. Green Challenge is the first national environmental quiz competition for kids, for secondary school students in Nigeria, and till date, we've had 8 editions of that. This is probably our most viewed program, particularly by students, because there's always a cash prize gift for students. And with this program, I've seen so many young people, particularly secondary school students, come in, bring their best, put their best foot forward, and basically just competing for themselves, for their school, because our slogan is, you're representing your family and not even your school. So they always put their best foot forward, and they come in to fight for the prize. Also in 2023, in the summer of 2023, we launched the Environmental Summer Camp, and we've had 1 edition of that. In the same year, we launched the Lagos Environment Neighborhood Livability Survey. This is to promote citizen science, and this was a pilot project because we wanted to find out from Lagosians what their main concerns were about the environment, particularly in how degraded the environment is and what they would like to see being done. And this also is supposed to push for policy papers so that we would use this to communicate to the government, particularly what the pain of the people are. And it would also promote bottom-up approach rather than the top-down approach that we usually see. In 2023 October, we also commemorated our second year anniversary with Lagos Environment Lecture Series as well. And then in 2024, we've had environmental short videos. Basically, we thought to ourselves that we could also communicate good environmental practices through short videos. And rather than just watching only skits, we thought that there are no environmental short skits. So we thought to do something like that. And that is what you see with the environmental short videos. We've had 2 of that. And now we're here for our 3rd anniversary. And this year, the product that we're launching is the environmental documentary. We hope that you stay till the end to watch the premiere of the trailer. Thank you very much. Ms. Adedotu, I would hand over the mic back to you. Thank you.
I think Mr. Lasisi is supposed to do an overview of coastal erosion now.
Yeah, thank you very much for the breakdown of the activity of the organization so far. Sometimes in 2011, Lagos witnessed something that we are not used to. There was an erosion and it's affected a lot of communities in Lagos. And this has been something that has been recurring over the years. Erosion, washing away communities has become a serious issue. And as an environmentalist, it's dawned on some of us that we need to find a lasting solution to it. But how do you find lasting solution to something you don't have record on? There's no documentary about it. And that is why this year we are launching a product, we are launching a documentary that shows how the beaches in Lagos, we're gradually losing them. And when we can't get the beaches, what are we going to do? What are the solutions to it? Do we have enough money to put groins in all the beaches? So this is just a photo documentary of research that has been on for over 10 years of coastal erosion in some of the communities in Lagos. So for those who are not familiar with Lagos, Nigeria as a whole, we fall between the latitude 4 to 14, and we are in between longitude 2 and 15. And Nigeria, like all other West African countries, lie within the coast, and we are being bordered by the Gulf of Guinea, and we have a lot of inundation from the sea. Lagos itself, it's a coastal state, and not only the coastal states in Nigeria, we have others who lie within the coastal region of Nigeria. However, the morphology of the beaches in Lagos, it's something that is very, very fragile. It's very, very fragile from the east to the west. And for people who are familiar with Lagos, Lagos can be termed as a place that shares boundary between the lagoon and the ocean. We have a lot of water system that runs around the city of Lagos. And we have a lot of rivers flowing into the Lagos Lagoon. And this has a connection with the ocean. Erosion in Lagos has been, a lot of documentary, a lot of research have always been saying that the erosion in Lagos started from the creation of the Lagos Harbor, pre-colonial. And what do we see? The 180-kilometer long Lagos Lagoon barrier and the movement of the water from the ocean into the lagoon. How does this affect the states? And what are the major factors of coastal erosion in Lagos? Apart from the anthropogenic activities, there are a lot of human impacts. Everybody wants to develop the coastal waterfront. People want to live close to the ocean. We want to put up ports. We want to put other activities around the shore. But does the shoreline of the states permit this? Now we are having climate change. We're having sea level rise and inundation from the ocean. It's also making this to become something that is prominent. If we look at studies carried out in the olden days, like I've said, these are studies carried out by various authors on the effects of the anthropogenic and the natural causes around the coastline in Lagos and in West Africa. And for people who talk, this erosion is not only happening in Lagos, it's happening in other parts of Nigeria. Ondo State is also getting affected seriously. We have similar effect in Republic of Benin. We also have it in Togo and also in Ghana. There's a study group by Alliance Française that is studying the coastal erosion in the coast of West Africa. And this is serious because of the coastline of West Africa is susceptible to a lot of changes, and these changes are not properly documented. So this picture we are seeing is the first, this is Alpha Beach long before the erosion started in Lagos. And for people who are familiar with Alpha Beach, who are familiar with Bar Beach, who are familiar with Jakonde, like Sunsplash, the Sunsplash, it's a musical event that normally happens in Jakonde, and then we have a lot of coconut tree, and all of a sudden this started disappearing. This is a Bar Beach in the early 90s. But what do we have now? The erosion in Lagos, it's affecting Lagos area like Badagry and Ibejuleki. However, Ibejuleki and Etiosa is having most of the activities. And part of the studies we have been able to carry out over the years, documenting what is the rate. We've been able to find out that Etiosa has the highest rates of minus 11 meters per year. We are losing land at an alarming rate of minus 11 in Etiosa, and this can be, you can see this in Igboefon, you can see this in Alpha Beach, you can see this in Okunja, just close to Goshen Estate after Lekki Phase 1, it is very prominent there. And if you go to other communities in Ibejuleki, we are losing the coastline at an average of minus 8.8. Okun is Idado, Idasho, Akodo itself. We are gradually losing the coastline, and it's becoming alarming. And this is why we decided, let's document this. Let's study this, and this is just some of the results we have been able to see. This is one of the inundation in the Babish in early 2000. This is 2011. This is Alpha Beach when it first became noticeable. Initially, it's just gradual erosion, and we were not, but this critical event that happened in 2011, it started around July, and it's culminated in August, October. Some researchers have tried to make a comparison that whenever we have the hurricane season in the US, immediately after the hurricane season in US, the coast of West Africa will be inundated. And this is what we have in Alpha Beach. And this is the beginning of the erosion in Bar Beach. And you can see this has gradually taken over Amadou Bello Way. These are some of the pictures of Alpha Beach, and you see we are losing communities gradually, and we are losing houses. This almost about 50 meters into the road here. It's about 50 meters into the ocean, far away from the ocean, but now it's gone totally in 2011. If you go to Alpha Beach now, you go to Okunwaja community presently, it's even more than 150 into the community. This picture shows part of Okunise in Ibejuleki and other community in Ibejuleki. So we know that Ibejuleki, most of the communities there are agrarian and also a fishing community. The coastal erosion is not only affecting the livelihood, it's affecting the trade, because before the sea is so far away, young people can help their parents. These are part of the information we receive from the community members. But now the tidal wave is so heavy that even parents are afraid for their children to go close to the waterfront. We can see that even houses closer to the community are getting washed away. This is the popular Elegushi Beach. And it's after the state government decided to put some groins that we can see that probably the land is trying to recover itself. And for us to have groins throughout the coastline of Lagos, it would be millions of dollars. It would be millions of dollars. So if we are unable to solve some of the myriad environmental problem on land, we are still battling with solid waste. We are battling with air pollution. We are battling with waste water management. How then are we going to put our resources? Imagine the state government committing millions of dollars, because to put up the groins to save some of this community will cost millions of dollars. So what are we going to do? In some of our visit to this area, we found out that the local community are also contributing to it. Illegal sand mining on the beachfront is very common. And this, like we said, it's lack of education and lack of information on the side of the community. These are the same people complaining about sea level rise and erosion, and they see some of their community members taking the sand from the beachfront to make blocks, and not knowing that the general commentary is that we are just taking small sand, not knowing that even just a little break in the natural coastline will cause a lot of issues. These are also some of the pictures that we have. So basically, this is what's formed the need for us to document this and see what are we going to do. The last seminar we have Professor Adogoke and Dr. Regina Folonsho to give an insight of how far Lagos is when it comes to shoreline protection. We cannot just say all of us want to wait for government. What are we going to do? What are the local knowledge that we need to start doing? Environmental education is very, very important. The people living at the coastline needs to be educated about how to take and own the beachfront. People go to Bahamas because the beachfronts are clean and they are nice. So why can't we protect these beachfronts and encourage tourism also in Lagos? And this is basically the outcome of the study and the need to protect this community against coastal erosion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Latifi, for providing the overview of coastal erosion in Lagos. Moving in on the agenda, I'll be reading the bio of Mayowa Adebote, who is a documentary photographer this would then lead into the photo exhibition. Adebote Mayowa is a documentary photographer, filmmaker, and environmentalist. His works are focused on using images and videos to capture humanitarian and development-related projects. He currently provides visual content for EnviroNews and the International Climate Change Development Initiative. Black Oxygen, Methane Emission in Nigeria, What's on Our Landfill are some of his notable projects. He also delves into spotlighting various topical stories, making them relatable to the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. He has worked on various environmental and development projects, including United Nations Development Programs, Youth Climate Innovation Hub, the Federal Ministry of Environment Climate Solution Leadership Training, a project funded by the U.S. Youth Alumni Engagement Program, amongst others. He has also worked on a number of documentaries, including one for the African Development Bank. He is an advisory board member for Planet 3R. More recently, he coordinated the Black Oxygen Project, which documented the illegal activities of a tire recycling company, Yo-Yo Recycling, in Urume-Rumo community of Ogun State, Nigeria. The project revealed how the air quality is being greatly affected and the associated health and economic issues linked to pollution caused. He's currently on a project titled Climatography, documenting the impact of climate change across the country. He believes and aims to use photography as a tool for social change. Mr. Mayowa, you're welcome. You have the floor. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone.
Hi.
Thanks for that introduction. I don't know if I'm audible.
Yes, you are. I can hear you very well. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I want to start by first of all giving a great appreciation to the organizers of this event, especially Mr. Adedoyin Lasisi. Thank you so much for having me shed a little more light on the context that we are discussing this afternoon.
I'm sorry to can I ask that you share your video?
Okay, I will share my video in a moment.
Right,
I will share my video in a moment, but then can you see my screen? Can you see my screen?
Yes, yeah, we can see your screen, but
yes. Okay. I'm not sure this is what you wanted to show us though.
All right, I want to believe you can see me now.
Yes, thank you for opening up your camera. This goes for our YouTube viewers. Thank you.
All right. So I really do not know where to start from because a lot already has been said by Mr. Adedoyin. Yeah, he has sort of tried to lay a very good background on the subject of coastal erosion in Lagos. He has taken us through the geographical location of where Lagos is and how and why Lagos is prone to coastal erosions. All I'm just going to be doing is perhaps giving a little more visual evidence to what already has been said. And like you've rightly introduced, I'm a documentary photographer. Basically, what I do is go about document environmental activities And the aim for me is to ensure that the science of climate change is better understood via photographs. I believe people, not minding the race, not minding the level in which you are, I believe everyone can connect well, with photographs. And over the few years of my activities, I've been able to document, quite a number of environmental, I would say climate change impact that we face generally in Nigeria and also outside of Nigeria. I'd like to start by saying that if there's anything that connects all of us together, I think it's water. Either the rich, the poor, the young, the old, we are all connected by water, and water is also very essential to every one of us. It's also very essential to life, but then a couple of time, and I don't know if my screen, can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can see your screen.
See your screen. It's all of your images. So it seems like you're showing us a folder, your downloads folder. That's what you're showing us, yes.
I'm actually trying to open a particular document. It's a PDF, and I don't know if that's what is visible.
No, it's your downloads folder that.
Oh, it's my
It's your downloads folder that we're.
Yeah. I'm going to do this. Just a moment. How about now? Just give me a moment. Let me try and sort this out. Just busy. How about now?
Yes, perfect.
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. So I was trying to say earlier that we are all connected by water, either young, old, rich, or poor. This particular image is a particular community in Badagry. And of course, everyone knows here that when we talk about coastal communities in Lagos, most of the activities that goes on in these coastal communities are fishing activities. Dwellers, residlers in these communities oftentimes are fishermen, fisherwomen, and all they basically rely on is having to go to the water to catch fish and all sort of other creatures. They sell and then perhaps use some for also consumption. I have in this image here a very popular road. It's actually the Third Mainland Bridge. And if you look at it, directly beneath it, you see the water from the lagoon. Of course, you also see like a water wave and the canoe that also shows the activities or kind of activities that goes on in Lagos water. While this is the reality of a lot of persons in Lagos, unfortunately, this is then the reality of, another group or another, what's it called, set of people in Lagos. While so many people bask in, live in a very comfortable environment, while so many people have access to good air, right? Unfortunately, this is the reality of so many people, in Lagos. This picture here shows, or this is a particular community also in Lagos that shows the impact or how much the sea has actually affected this community. Just like Mr. Adedunye had said, before now, the sea to a lot of these coastal communities used to be, if not even more than 70 meters away. But unfortunately now, this is the reality of what is happening, in Lagos. The sea over the years has gradually gradually eating up. And then, I mean, it's beginning to get to our doorsteps. It's beginning to get right in front of us. This is also another image of a particular building. This building in particular happens to be the traditional rulers' building, or yes, it happens to be traditional rulers, owned by traditional ruler, you know. And while I was doing this documentary, I was made to understand that this building happened to be way far, you know, far away from the Atlantic. But unfortunately, we can see the current distance of the sea now, you know, to the building, and we can also see what impact, you know, it has also begun to have on that particular building. According to what he had told me when he shared his experience, this happened overnight. They all went to bed, and then in the middle of the night, they experienced this very big ocean surge, and gradually the roofs went out, and then little by little to what you're able to see there right now. This also is another part of, I think, somewhere in Abraham Adesanya, you know, a lot of construction actually has been made across or along this this path before now. But as the sea over time, as it encroaches, you know, it begins to wipe away all of these buildings. If you also look at this building, this picture, you would see a portion of the wave, the ocean wave, that is a little bit dirty, right? And that shows that as the ocean comes, it takes away sand, it takes away, yes, it basically takes away, wash away, you know, sand. And this happens every day, happens every month, you know, and over the years, you know, it gradually begins to eat into people's landed properties. This is another, okay, I think this is the first one. This is also another portion of Akodo Ise community too, that shows how badly the ocean has affected people's home. This is the remnant of a particular building too, in a community across a coastal community in Lagos, you know, and it shows the remnants, it shows what exactly is left over of the people that once had their houses, that once had their homes, you know, in this place. I'm just going to, now this one happens to be a very interesting one. If you look well at this image, you see burial grounds, you know, people are about to bury their loved ones, maybe that died due to one or two, or maybe old age, you know. You can then imagine people having to go back again to these burial grounds to, you know, take the remnants of their loved ones, perhaps to relocate it or to, God knows what it is that they will do with it. Why? Because of the sea level rise and how it's affecting them. This particular woman, 2 days before I shot this image, I was told that she lost her child. Also in Akodo, they said there was this very large surge that came overnight. I mean, unprepared for, and then gradually, the thing, if you look at the building very well, you see the black spot around the walls, and that shows the heights in which, you know, the ocean actually got to, as that's when that incident occurred. And as I was told, she lost her child due to that ocean surge. This is also another community, you know, and if you look behind this image, you see what is left of the building, you know, of these people. This is a very interesting image for me that explicitly spells doom. And if you look at it, one would be tempted to say, okay, maybe it's a war that happened. It's not a war. What we see happening here is also sea level rise, and how the sea has almost completely wiped off, you know, this community. This building from where I took this picture happened to be like a civic center in that community that was once in the center of that community, but right now is, just at the bank of the ocean. And then we see human activities over the years by dumping refuse into the ocean. We see what happens here. Whenever there is this big surge, the ocean vomits again these deaths and then throws it back at us. This is another very interesting image. I remember titling this Before the Last Crumble, as that when I took this picture, we see the building, but as we speak, that building is no more. Obviously, it has been impacted by sea level rise, and it has displaced people from their homes, children, women, men. It has displaced people from their occupations, their jobs, and people have really, greatly been affected by this activity. This particular building happens to belong to a fisherman, and according to what I was told, this fisherman has, if not 3 or 4 times, drawn back. He has tried to move his house away from the ocean, but it happens that every 2 years, according to what he told me, the ocean keeps coming, it keeps gradually coming. And this is what is left of the fisherman's house, as at when I took this photograph. If you look at this image too, you see there's a concrete setback, but unfortunately the concrete setback isn't doing anything. This also is another image in that same community that shows the enormous impact of sea level rise. I do not mean to show us this image. I mean, the aim of showing us this image is not to scare us. It's not to make us afraid, right? But it's to show the impact, or to show how some set of people have been affected. Like everyone, I believe, knows here, the flooding incidents in Maiduguri that occurred, I think, barely 2-3 weeks ago. A lot of time people feel like flooding, it won't come near me. No. It can't happen. I mean, that's what a lot of us say. But then for the people in Maiduguri that once said that, I'm sure by now they would have a different mindset, or a change of mind, And I'm saying this because if we think that flooding is not near me, if we think that this is our own reality, I mean, if you look at this image, if you think that this is our own reality in Lagos, I'm afraid to tell you that if we are not careful, sooner or later, Lagos could get submerged, in water. And like I said, this is not to scare us, but to encourage us to begin to take impact. This, for example, is a form of impact, education awareness like we are having here. It's a form of impact that is being carried out. And I believe with further collaborations, with further learning, with further working together, I believe that we can begin to take things the right way, do things the right way, and at large curb climate change impacts such as flooding that we are experiencing in some parts of Nigeria. I would like to stop here and hand over to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayowa, for your presentation. We all appreciate it, and we're well informed and educated. Thank you once again. So at this point, I would like to also introduce one of our esteemed speakers in the person of Engineer Gubambi. Engineer Gubambi is a fellow of Nigerian Society of Engineers. He's also a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Civil Engineers. He's also a fellow of Nigerian Institute of Environmental Engineers. Can go on and on. He is a member of the Council of Regulations for Engineers, and Gubambi is presently a principal partner with Alluvial Comprehensive Service Limited, an environmental engineering consulting firm. Engineer Gubambi was born in Lagos, same Lagos we're trying to save now. He had his early education in Lagos, backed his BSc in Civil Engineering in 1983 from the University of Lagos. He joined the Lagos State Ministry of Works and Transport in March 1985 as a pupil engineer. Later proceeded to the Netherlands in 1989 and was awarded a master's degree in hydraulics engineering in low-lying areas in 1991. This was from the University of Netherlands, from the International Institute of Hydraulic Engineering in Netherlands. He was also awarded MBA in Finance from University of Lagos in 1998. Engineer Gubambi was a foundation member of NSC Ikeja branch at its creation in 1993 and held the post of Ikeja Environmental Division branch chairman in 2003. Engineer Gubambi is a very successful civil, hydraulic, environmental engineer and has held various positions in Lagos State Civil Service, with his career commencing on March 26, 1985 as an executive engineer too. He had since worked and risen through ranks to become a director, Drainage Department, Office of Drainage Service, Lagos State Ministry of Environment in 2008. Prior to this, he had a brief stay at the defunct Lagos Waterway, defunct Lagos State Waterfront and Tourism Development Corporation as head engineering and physical planning in 2000. He was project manager on the feasibility and engineering study for the Lagos Bar Beach development, a precursor to the Atlantic City. Also in 2005, he had a stint at Lagos State Ministry of Physical Planning and Urban Development as project manager, in charge of relocating Okobaba sawmill to Ejiri, otherwise known as Agbowa. As a director in charge of drainage and flood control in Lagos State, he witnessed significant change in number of flooding events normally recorded in the city. Engineer Gubambi has formulated, designed, and supervised many urban stormwater drainage programs and infrastructure in Lagos, among which are the in-house Lagos State consultant on stormwater drainage, that's flood control and reclamation on Lekki Free Trade Zone in Akodo. In-house Lagos State consultant on the negative impacts, problems, and provision of solutions to flooding problems of River Ogun. In-house Lagos State consultant, project director on drainage works for Lekki Road infrastructure by LCC, and in-house Lagos consultant, project director on drainage work on 10-lane Lagos Badagry Expressway built by Julius Berger. Engineer Gubambi has reached the zenith of his career when he was appointed the Permanent Secretary, Office of Environmental Services, Lagos State Ministry of Environment on March 12, 2013. As a Permanent Secretary, Office of Environmental Services, Lagos State Ministry of Environment, his contribution to Lagos State, which is not limited to the following, include the initiation of action towards completion and adoption of a climate change policy for Lagos State. He was team leader towards the completion and commission of first waste material recovery facility in Lagos, which was built by West African Energy. Also part of people that initiated the creation of Renewable Energy Department in Lagos State Ministry of Environment, part of the supervision for the preparation of the final draft of the Lagos State Environmental Management and Pollution Law, which was later modified, adopted, and passed into law in 2017. Supervision of the preparation of the draft of the Lagos State Water and Sanitation Policy, which was later recently adopted by the Lagos State government. In furtherance to his professional development for self and others, Engineer Gubambi has attended courses, workshops, seminars locally and internationally in France, Germany, Tanzania, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Peru, Poland, Mexico, USA, Singapore, UK, and the Netherlands. He has also been opportune to present technical papers at both local and international fora, among which include Engineering Solutions, the Management of Wetlands, Lagos as a Case Study. That was in June 2020. In December 2019, presented a paper on the role of private sector in waste management in Nigeria. In October 2019, presented a paper on managing solid waste in Lagos State, the strengths and weaknesses. by September 2017, challenges of managing flood in Lagos megacity. In November 2015, presented a paper on the overview of Lagos State climate change policy and action plan, key factors to improving planning and implementation. And in June 2011, presented a paper on the adaptation strategies on stormwater drainage management and flood control in Lagos. And lastly, but not the least, it also presented a paper on managing flooding and stormwater drainage infrastructures in urban areas. Engineer Gubambi has been in the private sector since then, and he has retired from the service of Lagos State government since 2015. At this point, I would like to welcome Engineer Gubambi, and you can have the stage, sir.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Thank you for welcoming me, and I want to appreciate your the profile that you've just presented about me. Once again, thank you. And also want to thank Mr. Lasisi for bringing me to his initiative. It's quite interesting from what I've seen on the screen here and what Lasisi has done so far. As a matter of fact, I met Mr. Lasisi when I became the permanent secretary of Office of Environmental Services. Hello. So my interaction with Mr. Lasisi and other officers there actually projected Lasisi as an inquisitive person, a researcher, somebody seeking knowledge all the time. And I actually moved him into, I think maybe he was in the EIA department then or whatever, or EIA unit. He was working, he had a boss then. So, but then I used to associate with him one-on-one, even behind his boss and everything. Well, it's an interesting thing that I've found here. And the story about coastline, shoreline, and everything is an interesting thing too, that people are trying to delve into it. But unfortunately, the system has not given a clearer way or path on how to deal with this coastal thing. Yes, Mr. Lasisi had done very well, like exposing one or two things about it. But then, coastline all over the world is not something that we can handle privately. It's like an international boundary of a country. So the management of that coastline lies basically with the federal government. And if the federal government is not looking at it because of the distance of that federal government from the coastline, it's also the responsibility of the state government too to intervene, particularly the residents living along the coastline or the shoreline are natives of Lagos. So the state government is supposed to protect them. But be that as it may, I had opportunity of working with Lagos State coastal waterfront development, like you said, a precursor to the Ministry of Waterfront now. Yes. Then the current president was the governor of Lagos State. So they brought up in the army some consultants from South Africa to talk about how they want to convert what they call a liability, that is the erosion there, to assets. It was an interesting thing because it gave me the opportunity to actually discover one or two things that I've learned as part of my background. Like we read out there, have MS in hydraulics in low-lying areas, low-land areas. When you do such a course, you are dealing with river flow from upstream coming from up to come and discharge, then you are dealing with the effect of the coast into the lagoon. You are dealing with the tidal environment, the lagoon environment completely. What is going to happen if you have rivers discharging to the lagoon, and you also have the ocean surge, erosion, and stuff like that coming again to the lagoon, to the lagoon stroke tidal environment. So it's an interesting thing. So by the time I worked on the Babbage thing, there are so many revelations that came about. So the background of that erosion was the development of those two modes. They are a form of groins too, breakwaters. If Lagos coastline, the 180 kilometer all the way from Badagry to Ibeju, if it had been left alone without human intervention, honestly, we won't be talking about erosion and stuff like that. But because of urbanization, the Europeans, they needed to develop the Apapa port then. That's why they created an entrance naturally. Okay, let me give you an overview of the what I'll call coastal morphology or coastal environment. We have rivers coming from upland. These rivers must discharge into Atlantic Ocean. Apart from some rivers that are discharging into the Lake Chad. All other rivers, we have about 10 or 11 hydrological zones in the country. Lagos is capturing all the southwest hydrology. And when I say hydrology, that is the type of rivers, the flow and everything coming down. So Lagos serves as the end point for the southwest. So all the rivers, 2/3 of all the rivers in the southwest, they must come to Lagos. And where did they pass through? They pass through that Commodore Channel. And that's where it's been, time immemorial. That's where God created it. But by the time the Europeans wanted to create the port, they needed to stabilize that corridor, because the ship, they needed enough depth to come in. So they need to, because during low tide, somebody could actually walk across the Commodore Channel then, before the construction of during low tide. Why are we having that? Because we're seeing littoral drift. When I say littoral drift, movement of sand from the western part of Lagos towards the east. This is the way the climatology is like. The waves, they bring sand towards the coast in an oblique manner. At the same time, they take part of this sand. As one wave is taking one sand away, another wave is bringing sand. So you have what they call dynamic equilibrium. They're bringing sand, they're taking it away. So far, you don't disturb that natural equilibrium, there will be no erosion, there will be no accretion, because as the waves are depositing, at the same time they are taking away, they are depositing and taking away 24 hours. We're on our bed, we are sleeping, we don't even know. So, but unfortunately, the Europeans needed to create the port, and they put a mole, they call one west mole, and they call another one east. You see, the west mole, what did it do? It stopped all the sand that's supposed to travel to the east to stabilize Lagos coastline. It stopped them. And in the east mole, the environment, they are still mimicking such that they think sand, they are still bringing sand. No sand was coming, but the erosion was going on. The sand was being moved away with the thinking that, okay, the DNA is like, we are bringing sand, we're taking it away, we are bringing sand, you keep on bringing, but no sand was crossing from the west to the east anymore. So if you look towards the west, Takwa Bay, see development of new land behind the west mole. Whereas in the
Hello, sir. Hello, sir. We can't hear you, sir. I think we're having network issue with Engineer Ogunbambi.
Yeah, he's no longer on the call. Perhaps we give him a few minutes to join back again.
So I think Engineer Ogunbambi is having issue with his network. He's trying to join us back.
He's
Why
back
we wait?
here.
I'm back already. I'm back
Okay.
already.
Thank you, sir.
Hello?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. You can go on, sir.
So I'm just trying to give an overview why we're having the erosion. And because of this little problem, the erosion continued all the way to the Grand Canyon. You see, this if you look at the West African coast, let's take the Nigerian coast. Somewhere in Odo State, there's a kind of what they call canyon. They call it Mahin Canyon. It's like a valley inside the continental belt. So all the movement of sand going toward in the east direction, everything goes down into the valley. All the movement of sand, but if you are in the Niger Delta in the south, the movement of sand is towards the west. Whereas if you are in Lagos and all the rest, coming from Ghana, Togo and all the rest, the movement of sand is towards the east. That's the way Baba God created it like that. So if you disturb the flow, for now, we are going to have challenge. The Lekki Deep Sea Port too is creating a problem like that. The same thing with Dangote Port. Those ones are even complicating the erosion in that axis. I don't know whether federal government is looking at it. And the people doing the EIA, I feel sad that they have not actually interrogated. They have not interrogated all this and stuff like that. So the challenges are big. Hello. Oh, hello. Can everybody hear me?
Hear you, sir.
Hello?
We can hear you, sir.
I just wanted to clarify, sir. Do you have slides that you can share with us, sir?
On this,
Yes.
Lasisi did not tell me to come up with
No,
some form of slide.
No problem, sir.
it's just to share his general experience on the topic. No slide presentation.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
So now because from what I've been hearing, what do we do? There are solutions. There are soft solutions. There are hard solutions to coastal erosion. The fundamental thing is I'm talking about is to understand why are we having this erosion. In the Badagry area, there's no erosion. No. I'm telling you, from Badagry to the West Mole, there's no erosion per se, except if you are trying to cut through, because now they want to create a Badagry port. Yes, that's a trigger for erosion. Immediately you cut that coastline, that's a trigger for erosion immediately. But I don't know whether the Badagry port is still going on. But I know Lagos has a tourist destination, a tourist facility there. The point of no return is just beside Badagry port. And if you create the port there, you're going to have erosion and it's going to wipe the shoreline away. before we wake up to say we want to address it, we won't be able to recover everything. We still have the regression, because I'm seeing regression 8 meters per year, 11 meters per year. I'm seeing things like that. We should go and interrogate what the deep sea ports, the kind of erosion that they have created per year. What's the Dangote? I don't know whether people have seen Dangote port. That's another mighty port there. Dangote port is beside the Lekki deep sea port. So there are two facilities combining to create humongous erosion. If you look at the trees along, they've all disappeared. They've all disappeared. We should go and to help everybody to actually identify. We can all measure, if you are familiar with satellite imagery. All you have to do is go in timeline, reverse the timeline to say, okay, oh, this man, Dangote came to Lekki in 2015. Just take the timeline there, look at the coast, look at features to help you. Then take it back now. Then take measurement of the distance of what has happened. You discover by now, I think they've lost over 100 meters after Dangote. Now Lekki Deep Sea Port has started now. Well, there's going to be a war between Dangote and Lekki Deep Sea Port about how to manage erosion. Well, there are two big institutions. They know, they have the money, they know how to resolve it. Now, moving forward, like I said, there are different solutions. The present solution being taken by government is a hard structure, the growing structure. So what they are trying to do is to create what they call growing field. Growing field between after the first growing, you see a kind of I mean, before the first growing, you see a kind of restoration, accretion. Immediately you have a small erosion. Then after, you see accretion again, and by that you are trying to do a kind of stabilization. That's what the growing would do. For the Atlantic City, what they have done is to create a wall, and that wall hard structure, real hard structure, and that wall has created problem downdrift, that is moving towards the east. That's why Lagos State came up. They didn't tell us the truth that the Atlantic City, because it has been built, it's now creating erosion all the way down. So they have no choice. Now, I had Lasisi mention that, okay, they keep on building, growing. Yes, they keep on building, growing. Where will they stop the growing? They will stop at the boundary of Ogun State. So Ogun State will now take the problem over. If they have the funds too, maybe they will put some growings there. So by the time Ogun State gets to the border with Ondo State, the two will stop and say, okay, Ondo State, take over your problem. That's the way the erosion, until they get to the canyon inside Ondo State there, where the erosion. But Ondo State will enjoy a lot of erosion. Don't let us, they are going to suffer a lot. All the problems are being transferred all the way from Lagos to Ogun State, all the way to Ondo State. That's the way it's going to be. Now, coming back to solution, like I said, the shoreline is owned by federal government. So the federal government is supposed to actually look at it and say, okay, how do we go about it? In some of my papers, I've made recommendation that, look, since it's a coastline all over the world, we have what they call coastal zone management agencies all over. They have all the resources. Number one, they have experts coming up with what kind of structures are they going to put there. They have also experts monitoring the weather, seeing what kind of climatological events that are going to happen. Like you have ocean surges. Ocean surges can be simply explained as the interaction of waves. You know, these waves, they travel like a tiny wave. For Lagos coastline, I think the maximum wave they've seen is between 5 and 7 meters. And they travel all the way from South Africa to come and hit the coast. But because of the shorter distance, they don't grow into typhoon or hurricane and stuff like that. Unlike the tiny thing that grows from West Africa, the Gulf of Guinea, that grows to go and hit America as hurricane. So the same thing, we have tiny waves growing again to become big. So they hit the coast. But what they've done at Atlantic City is to build a vertical wall, a kind of protection, and reflect the waves back. But that one is even dangerous too, because you see, at the foundation of what they have built there, they need to be sending people to be monitoring whether the structure is stable or not, because at every point when you have water hitting such a structure, it has a pounding effect, has a damaging effect on the foundation. And in the Netherlands, what they do is that they put what they call pore pressure to keep on measuring forces hitting such a structure. So there are many things. If you have a federal coastline management agency, or if the federal is not willing to do it, let Lagos State do it. Let them create a Lagos State coastal management. The people living there are Lagosians. They are not federalists or whatever. Their first thing is, okay, they're in Lagos. So there are different structures. And I'm talking about hard structures now. For soft structures, you can begin to see how we can plant, we can regenerate all the vegetation there. You can do tree planting, you can do those palm trees and everything. We can replant them, we can regenerate them. But we must have it at the back of our mind that we're trying to do restoration and conservation. But I don't see that happening. I saw it on the social media 2 days ago. The federal government is going to acquire all the land abutting the coastal road now from Lagos to Calabar. Tell me, are they trying to restore anything? They're not interested until somebody sinks this into the mind of the president or the governor that, look, the coastal environment is vulnerable, fragile. We must do something to ensure sustainability here. Else, people will just come there and say, okay, let's capture the beachfront, waterfront, just like landmark people, how they captured everything. They never saw how they saw how they must sustain such coastline. That's just the issue. So, in order not to take too much of your time, this is not something somebody will just finish in one session like this. So there are so many things to be done: revetment, embankment, seawalls, groins, vegetation, like I said earlier. And once the federal government has taken coastline as an issue, I'll tell you, we won't be having all these crises that we're seeing happening every day. I think I want to stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your expert opinion on the issue that we're discussing today. I just have one question for you, or maybe two.
Okay.
You have mentioned about the fact that the introduction that the introduction of seaport, the deep seaports, once there's a break in the shoreline, then that's when action and erosion begins. But then again, we need to balance the need for urbanization, development, promotes trade. In your own opinion, how do you think that, what do you suggest is the best way to balance the need for urbanization, the need for trade, and also protecting the environment? What do you think is the best way to go about this? Thank you.
Thank you for asking that question. That's why they said, let's do EIA or let's do ASIA. I've had opportunity of attending a session on the Lekki Deep Sea Port when I was in service. Look, if we create this port, there's going to be erosion, because it was written there as part of something that, what are you going to do about the erosion? Actually, the chairman of the Deep Sea Port then, this, what's the name of that food that we eat? The chairman of Toleram, the man just kept quiet. He didn't answer the question. And I was just looking at them that, look, I don't see how you're going to survive with this project. because if you couldn't answer this, you don't know what to do. The same thing, I went for a session for the AIA on Badagry Port about the erosion that will occur immediately you start if you cut through that shoreline. Yes, the consultant acknowledged it, and they came up with all sorts of stories about lying ground, active grounds, and all the rest. I said, what will happen to the point of no return, the tourist something there? The man said he was not aware that there's a tourist development there. I just shook my head at we're in for so many things because so many agencies are not relating together. So this is once we can satisfy. Hello, once we can satisfy. I mean, once we can satisfy the condition of the AIA, say, okay, we have foreseen this crisis. These are the things that we want to do. These are the ways we have to mitigate against it. I think we're good to go. But most times for coastal engineering, it's always tough to come up with a coastal structure. And there are solutions there. The experts, the consultants there, they will give solutions. But some of the solutions may be very expensive. And the people developing these facilities may say, they may not be able to incorporate in their project, in their development. That's why they avoid doing such a thing. So it's very complex. It's very complex. So to answer your question, there are solutions, but they may be very expensive for the project because they are thinking about return on investment. When is this return going to come back? What was the tenure of this return? So to say they want to balance environmental, situation together with economic situation is an Herculean task for them. That's what I'm going to say for now. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, you sure did, sir. The only last question that I'd want to ask is, do you think that wetland management, because Lagos being a coastal city surrounded by wetlands, but then again, we've seen that the wetlands have been either reclaimed or something.
Okay. Let me. I've done a paper again that they should create a wetland management agency. Let me now tell you what the role the wetland plays, because I didn't define clearly. I got carried away. I should have told you the equilibrium being experienced in the lagoon and tidal environment. You see the shoreline, you are seeing sand all the time there. And you also have rivers. Like I said, those rivers that you are seeing, it's not only water they are taking sand. I give you an example. One of the rivers, River Ogun, is maybe about 400, between 300 and 500 meters away. The remotest point of River Ogun is somewhere around the same. That's is it Oyo State? Yes, Oyo State. And from that point, that river takes sand. If we're able to color the river from that point, keep on monitoring, we'll see the river coming all the way to the Commodore Channel to come and to try to come out into the Atlantic Ocean. Now, where I'm going is that the river, the sand being taken away by the rivers, they are important for the stability of Lagos. If I tell you, if I should shut down the Commodore Channel and stop all the sand from coming to the Atlantic Ocean, to the Atlantic Ocean, I'll tell you the Lagos coastline will experience massive degradation, massive instability, in the sense that no sand will be coming, and the erosion, the dimension of the erosion you are having now will be bigger when we say, okay, stop all the sand from coming into the Lagos Lagoon. I'll tell you, we'll get into big problem. Likewise, the same thing with the wetland too. You see, the wetland creates a kind of feature to take part of the sand inside the vegetation. They have this relationship and stabilize the inland foreshore. You say the foreshore around, is it Okobaba, going to the Lekki, the Lekki Lagoon itself. The vegetation, they kind of have effect to stabilizing the shoreline there. And if you say, okay, let's kill all the wetland, now you're having issues. You are going to have issues with flooding and all the rest. And you are going to have issues with stabilization of the entire inland shoreline. So we are living in a very fragile environment, and somehow the federal government, state government, they have not seen the reason why they must look at Lagos as a vulnerable child, or coastline cities. They are all vulnerable children. So federal government must give them special attention. That's the way I see it. Have I been able to answer your question too?
Yes, you did. And I just went into the chat box section and I saw that I have another question here. So I'm just going to read out the question for you.
Okay.
Sir, the engineering solutions to coastal erosion is very costly, but what short-term mitigation can Lagos State do? That's the question.
What Lagos State is doing is to introduce groins now. They are kind of revetment structure. I mean, groins, they now put revetment structures there. I try to explain, the groin is such that they will slow down the impact of the waves there. You see, the waves, what we're having along the coastline. I'm trying to inform you about the forces coming. You have the forces of the waves, and you have the forces of the winds too. Anywhere you have open surface where there are no structures coming up, you have winds being created. That's the way God created something. When you have hot air and cold air, then the cold air will try to displace the hot air. From there, you see waves generated on the open surface, and you see waves traveling. They keep on traveling. They come and hit the shoreline. So waves, winds, and water. We've talked about sea level rise. I didn't even mention that. The combination of such things, they kind of destroy the shoreline. So what are the short-term solutions to bring to this? Lagos State has picked one of the options, that is the groin structures, but they're quite expensive to build too. Any offshore structure that you want to do is quite expensive. It's not something and the funny thing is that even if you pick a solution, you have to go and do a kind of laboratory. You have to check it, to go and build a model in laboratory and check it whether it's going to stay, because offshore structures, you think you have perfected the design. The deterministic design may not actually work. You have to build a model in the lab and check it out and see whether it's going to fail, and test the scenario for the real structure itself with time. So putting up with temporary solution, I don't know what temporary solution can be said to be given to offshore structures. Just like you see all these offshore structures of oil companies, those things don't come cheap. They must have done a lot of designs, a lot of testing in the lab before they would decide to say, okay, we want to put this thing down. So the money for the design, the money for the research, they don't come cheap too. Now the money to install the infrastructure too. So the best thing is don't go near shoreline, because apart from damaging that environment, it costs a lot of money. And it's not a house that you build and say you want to abandon or you want to come back. You must start and finish it once and for all and move away. So the best thing is, if you know you can't protect that environment and everything, don't go near it. Keep away. Keep away. It's not cheap at all. It's not something you build in installments. There's nothing like installment. You build and stop. I heard when he mentioned where Lagos State government stopped with the groin. You go there, you could see massive erosion, as if the sea, the Atlantic Ocean had been hot. That look, I'm not going to take this. I'm just trying to mimic the Atlantic Ocean. But you try to stop this thing. The next development, the next community after that, they experience massive erosion. That's the way it is. I hope I've been able to answer that. Is there any other question?
Yes, another question that has come up is how can the state do the needful at Dangote and deep sea ports since the state has no access for monitoring?
How can the state? You see, yes, that's a very good question. There's this principle in the polluter must pay principle or something like that.
Polluter pays principle?
Yes. If you pollute the environment, you must pay for the mitigation or remediation. I think the deep sea ports and the Dangote ports, they must be made to pay for the restoration of all the erosion moving downdrift eastward in that direction. It's not about the port development. There's no compulsion for Dangote to go and create that port for the refinery, but because of the kind of machinery they needed to move, you could imagine having a truck with 256 tires going on a road, and the road must be about 50 meters wide. Which road will you get from Apapa Port all the way to Dangote? It's not possible. So he had to build that port. And if you go and look at the road that he built after the port, it's like 50 meters wide, because people in the area, they said one day when they were bringing one machine, the thing broke down on the road, and there was no road for any other car again. So after the people protested, the stakeholder protested, now said, okay, there's no way taking any machinery through this road again. We need to put a port. But then that should have been taken up by the stakeholders, that what will happen after you put us this port, and what are you going to do? But nobody's looking at that. That's the problem. We have lots of challenges, well, if Lasisi and Co can bring all these things to the public space, so maybe we'll begin to look at all these people. If they are building ports, if they are cutting through the shoreline, if they are killing part of the environment, let them bring money out too. They're not doing charity work. They're making money for themselves. Let them bring money to correct the environment, to restore the environment. That's the way it's supposed to be. And nobody's looking at that. Anyway, another thing is that by the time they rub palms with all these government officials, people will just keep quiet. They keep quiet. So that's where we are now. I hope.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Let me take you on this. The coastline, it's a federal jurisdiction area.
Yes, exactly.
And if we cannot wait for federal government, like the main challenge we have in Lagos is we don't have a department that is in charge of coastal monitoring, because I can recollect my last lecture in depth. Before you can even do any engineering design, before you need to carry out study, you need to carry out measurements, you need to carry out stimulations to see how this water flow. I don't think so maybe what the state government needs to do is we need to just take our destiny in our own hands. We don't have to wait for federal government. Maybe Ministry of Environment and Ministry of Waterfront join us together, the scientists in Ministry of Environment, the engineers in Ministry of Waterfront combines together, and let's start monitoring the tidal wave. Let's start doing. Do you think this is a thing we should push for those of us who are still in service? What's your take on this, sir?
Once again, I want to thank you for this. You see, I realized one thing in the service. If you don't have that energy to push things through, your innovations, your ideas may not come to fruition. I have seen it. The energy must be there. And even if they're trying to frustrate you to say it's not going to see the light of the day, you have to push it through. And it's not about pushing it through. You must look at the head of the government, maybe Mr. Governor himself, that look, how can you sell this to this Mr. Governor? Is he buying it? Is he seeing reason behind it? If Mr. Governor sees that, look, you need to put in a lot of energy, and if Mr. Governor too does not have that kind of strength to push that thing through, I can tell you for real, your father will just sit somewhere in his office there, waiting for approval that will never come, and will just be. These things are they are tough, but if you can organize yourself, you have a director or one permanent secretary that is pushful, that wants to see results, I can tell you it will move. But once these people are not putting head together to get things done, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to move anywhere. I've seen this over and over. I passed through the system. I know how the system works. So you must have a lot of buy-in from the top to wherever you are. Even some of your colleagues who are part of the something will say it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to. Okay, let me give you an example. The sanitation policy that's just been approved 2024, 2023. In 2013, I started the draft of the sanitation policy. We finished it by 2014. 2014, but by the time we presented it to ESCO in 2015, Fashola was about going. When he saw the volume of the document, he said, look, this is not a one session ESCO. He now created a sub-ESCO committee. And the subcommittee were meeting, but unfortunately, Fashola had to go. And that was the end of the policy. Nothing happened to that policy. I don't know, maybe the next man never had the strength to do it, or he was not interested. Until this young man, the new commissioner for environment, came on board and said, this sanitation policy is lying idle there. Okay, let's get it. And that's how they approved it to become a policy of Lagos State. And that's exactly the picture I'm trying to paint. You can have your initiatives, you can have your idea. If the people are supposed to push it, if they're not pushing, can assure you, it's dead on arrival. That's the name of what I'm going to give it. I hope I've made my point clear to you.
Yes, sir. There's a question on can we use public-private partnership initiatives in doing this kind of projects? Some of the engineering solutions to, like, committing such huge amount of funds when we still have schools to build, we have health cares to. Can we do public-private partnership?
Multilateral agency will not come in to come and work with you if they know that you want to disturb part of the environment. I can assure you for that. They won't say they want to put their. So I don't know which private partnership you want to use that wants to put money. But if you think you want to develop a coastal policy, yes, you can talk to all these agencies. At least one agency help with the water and sanitation policy. We can look at it and say, okay, you want a restoration of the coastal community. You want, okay, at least I think somebody sponsored the climate change adaptation, something, the climate change policy. I think somebody, I don't know who's sponsoring the creation of the climate action committee or whatever that. I think I read something there outside. So, but for coastal that you want to cut and destroy people's life, I don't know which agency will want to help you to say, let's cut the coastline and build structures, ports. What are they even building? They are only building ports, nothing else. You can't, nothing. You see, like I said, the shoreline, coastline environment is so dynamic and it's so dangerous that the kind of forces that come into play, that come to interact, they destroy anything that you put there. They destroy everything. So you have said it. Your study must be done firmly. You must have you must have interrogated so many things before you come out with a structure. And I don't know. So if you have a policy, if you have an authority, an agency that is tracking everything that is coming up from the ground in coastal area, you at least that's the kind of a movement. Right now, nobody's tracking anything. That's why you're doing documentary. You want to create awareness. Government too is not even looking at the waterfront that you are even seeing. The waterfront is even the wetland in Lagos. The Ministry of Waterfront has taken over. They've sold some of them out. Go and check. I'm telling you this. I got to know this from one of the consultancy job being done for one of the model city plans that Ministry of Fiscal is doing. You ask for information from waterfront, they will not release because they've sold out. They don't want you to know what they have done. So go and the former commissioner, I don't know his name again, in Ministry of Waterfront, got involved with all this rubbish by selling most of the wetlands around Lagos. So we have issues. We have serious issues. So Mr. Lasisi, the best I can do is to continue to support you or hail you, give you ideas on how to do. But then, if the head of the something is not ready to look into what we're talking about, to interrogate, to fix it, I think I don't know where we're not going to move forward. That's where I see everything.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir, for the knowledge and the eye-opening lecture you have given us, at least for most of us who are on the call. These have been able to have a clear knowledge of the interaction between the rivers and the lagoon and the oceans in Lagos State and how it contributes to coastal erosion. Thank you very much, sir, for that brilliant presentation. We really appreciate it, sir. Thank you, sir. Back to you, Andy.
Thank you very much, sir. So next on the agenda is a synopsis of Is Lagos Sinking? The Journey. On Sunday, 10th of July, 2011 was a day that most Lagosians will not forget. The heavy rain came with serious ocean surge, and this affected many communities in Lagos. About 20 meters of the coastline was lost to the ocean in Alpha Beach. It was so bad that the then president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Mr. Goodluck Jonathan, GCFR, came visiting. Since then, coastal erosion has been a major problem in most coastal communities in Etiosa and Ibeju-Lekki. The images of 2011 became so vivid that every environmentalist started calling on government to do something, and we're still doing. However, images do talk, data talks better. So from 2012, we started measuring the rate of erosion and started sharing data with different professionals to see what we can do. And efforts have not ceased on these. Last year, we had a webinar series on coastal erosion and its effects, and the effects it's having on communities. And this led to documenting these effects. To this now, I will premiere the trailer of the documentary. Please just give me a minute to share my screen and we'll be able to watch the trailer in a minute. Thank you. Please confirm that you can see my screen.
We can see your screen.
And the audio?
Please add audio.
Lagos, Nigeria's economic hub, is facing the catastrophic threats. Rising sea levels, coastal erosion, and flooding are combining to create a perfect storm that threatens the very existence of this vibrant city. Is Lagos sinking? Lagos is home to over 20 million people, but its rapid growth and urbanization have come at a steep price. The Lagos coast is part of the Barrier Lagos complex. The coast is the interconnection of lagoons, creeks, lakes, rivers, and channels. The 180-kilometer-long Lagos coastline is disappearing at an alarming rate. The rate of erosion ranges from -11 meters per year in Etiosa, -8.8 meters per year for the other parts of the state. Experts warn if nothing is done, Lagos could be underwater by 2050.
This is the initial picture of Alpha Beach in Iguefor in Etiosa local government, where a lot of people normally have funds. But over the years, the activity of sea level rise and some such has turned Alpha Beach into something else.
There will be loss of subsistence of the local community. For example, in Okwaja, all the coconut trees that were lined up there used to serve as a source of income. All this is washed off.
The consequences are already being felt. Flooding is displacing communities, destroying homes and businesses. The economic impact is staggering, with billions of dollars lost annually. But it's not just about numbers, it's about people's lives.
It's very visible from a day-to-day basis how much shoreline is being eaten. And it's quite quick as well.
Tí mo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣiṣẹ́ apẹja yìí, ó ti lé níbi 25 years. Bá a ṣe ń rí ẹja yẹn pa ń gbà yẹn lọ́hùn, ààrẹ pa ń sìn mọ́.
However, there is hope. Experts propose innovative solutions from seawalls to wetland restoration. The clock is ticking. Lagos has just a few decades to rise to the challenge. Will Lagos act in time, or will this vibrant city succumb to the rising tide? The fate of Lagos hangs in the balance. It's time to take action.
Thank you very much. Now we open the floor for comments and contributions. Mr. Lasisi, I hand back to you. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is just the highlights of the documentary. We are going to have the full documentary, 40 to 40 minutes of 40 minutes or 50 minutes documentary, the proper premiere of the full documentary sometime in December or next year, February, to mark the World Ocean Day, where the main action of why we really want to do this. The community members are losing their livelihood. We hope to probably partner with some of the organizations involved in this activity to empower the communities. You know, people are losing homes, people are losing their livelihood. How do we empower the communities? So it's just about the people. Let's get the people voice, let their voice be heard. So the full documentary will premiere it later December, or because we are working with some of the cinema house on a particular, and we know December is normally a busy period. So if we are unable to make it up by December, maybe February, when we are having the World Ocean Day, we'll do the premiere and set up an action. We cannot just be talking and not put action in place. So that is the main reason. The full documentary will come out then, but however, if you want to watch this again, the documentary will be available on our YouTube page, and we also put some other highlights. Some of other things that we have done, everything will be on the YouTube page while we get ready for the premiere. So the floor is open. If anybody has any comments, any observation, the floor is open for everybody. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Lasisi, for coming up with this. I think we need to do a kind of clarification. I think there's a difference between sinking and erosion. Sinking, maybe in my own little generic interpretation, sinking means we're having a vertical movement, kind of vertical displacement going southwards. I think that's my impression about sinking. And from an engineering sense, we kind of use the word consolidation. When you say sinking, there are several factors in engineering that will allow the vertical movement of the soil or the structure on top to go down. The first thing that we'll look at is the primordial nature of the soil. Is it a compressible soil? When I say compressible soil, is it a kind of mud? Like you keep on measuring the mud flats in Lagos and stuff like that. Is the type of soil, is it located in the mud flats? And even if you look at the structure of the soil too, what are the different strata that you have there? Like you have clay, you have mud, you have sand, you have all those things. That's from the perspective of soil now. You can actually have sinking due to the nature of soil. Another thing is that you can have sinking due to saturation of the soil itself. I mean, now in the situation where you have flooding, flooding can trigger sinking also. You see, at the point that the water saturates the entire environment and you have water surrounding everywhere, by the time the water is going to move away, the water drags the soil underneath without you knowing. There's a phenomenon in hydraulic engineering, they call it piping. Piping is a situation. Hello? Piping. Sorry, can that person mute himself? Piping is a situation. Are you people hearing me? There's one person.
We can hear you, sir. Continue, sir. Continue, sir.
Piping is a situation where you have movement of the sand in the horizontal direction underneath the superstructure. You are not seeing it, but it's actually happening. It starts with a time. Hello, okay. You see, piping starts with movement of the sand. You start with the tiny particles, then you go to the bigger particle. Then you are going to reach a threshold 1 year, or 1 time, or 1 period, or 1 second. But the whole thing will go down again. Are you getting that? So that's another perspective where you can have vertical consolidation or the sinking of the superstructure. Now, the third aspect that I am suspecting, although we don't have data to validate, to verify all these things, because we're doing a lot of borehole in the Lekki Peninsula or wherever, maybe on the islands, Lagos Island, Victoria Island, blah, blah, blah. I'm seeing evidences of this island going down. And the only pointer that can accelerate such thing is the movement of the water from water underlying there. Meaning, you see, water, like I was trying to use flood to explain how water would take part of the sand away. In a situation where you take large volume of the water, you see underneath in those low-lying areas, you have what they call the high water table. We all hear about the high water table. The water takes part of the pore, the space in between the sand. But immediately you take the water away from the pores between the sand, they kind of move together. That's what we call consolidation. They kind of the small ones will want to move together. And all those pore spaces, these tiny, tiny spaces there, will shrink. And the cumulative of this over the years will bring a building down gradually. And let us note one thing. The mean sea level is constant over the years. It doesn't change. But our ground level can go down to meet the mean sea level or go below the mean sea level. I'll give you one instance. When I started work, I used to visit Victoria Island. The stormwater drainage system in Victoria Island, I think is one of the best in Nigeria. Stormwater drainage system in Victoria Island. But I don't think it's like that anymore because somehow we've been careless. We've not been looking after them. Now, what have I discovered recently? When I passed through Uzubamba, the way, I discovered that I am always seeing water inside the drainage system discharging into the 5 Cowrie Creek, whereas it was never before. Those drainage channels were higher than the mid-sea level, than the high water level. You see, most of the time when you are categorizing water level from the sea, you categorize them as low water level, then mid-sea level, and you have the high water level. High water level in VI, that's when you have the high tide. When the Atlantic Ocean is coming in, they come in and they increase the height of the 5 Cowrie Creek, the Lagos Lagoon by, if you stay in Victoria Island, the height will go as high as about 0.8 above the mid-sea level. But by the time the water is going out again during low tide, the water goes down again by about 0.8. And you have 2 tides in a day, the high and low, 2 times in a day. It's like a cycle. You have the cycle. It's another long story to be talking about. So where I'm going is that I now realize that, you see, in the past, because Victoria Island was reclaimed properly, Victoria Island was above the high water level. But what I'm trying to say now is that those drains are now below the high water level. So I'm beginning to wonder what could have caused it. Is Victoria Island too going down gradually, despite the fact that it's a very good, I mean, Nigeria had money then and they did good engineering work there. So if such a thing would be happening at Victoria Island, I can imagine the challenges in the Lekki Peninsula itself, all the way from Itinerary Canal down to wherever the peninsula ends there in Beju. So if you say, is Lagos thinking, I will advise that if you can get the elevation model some few years ago. Now to get that's another long story. The people holding such data, they're not ready to let go. But Mr. Lasisi, if you can go out of your way, get the elevation model from 2000, begin to calibrate. Elevation model, what are we saying about the elevation model? Elevation model is just the height of the ground. The height of the ground against the mean sea level for a particular year. And I think such, so you can actually, if you don't want to go through the Surveyor General, you can use the remote sensing or LiDAR or this American company. They can actually give you. It may not be accurate because if you want to get the high resolution, you have to pay for that. They can actually give you. We can begin to calibrate and say, okay, this is Lagos mean sea level. It's also here. It's also here. Now it's also here. This is Lagos mean sea level. Then from there you can do your calibration and say, oh, this city, is sinking. Just like we are using satellite imagery now, Google, Google Earth, you can actually measure the horizontal displacement. You are seeing the regression, the erosion going on. The same thing, if somebody can have access some of these open source, whatever, they can actually give you the height of Lagos as it's going down gradually. So you can now validate this, your statement. Is Lagos sinking? Your hypothesis can be there, yes or no. You can begin to say from this, your evidence. As a matter of fact, we can trigger public discussion on this and the government to become aware. Because right now, everybody seems to be sleeping. They are not even talking about it. But I can assure you, if sea level is rising and the peninsula or all the islands are sinking, we know the consequence now. We definitely know the consequence. All the drainage system will never function again. They won't, because already the land is going lower than what is expected. And the water, the sea level will just come in easily. It's simple analysis. We don't need any rocket science to know the consequences of such carelessness on our part. So that's just my contribution for now, Mr. Lasisi, on is Lagos sinking or not. It doesn't have much to do with erosion. I just need to clear that. Or the kind of erosion that you have is under the ground, called the piping. So
yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. Yeah, the title is Lagos sinking is when when we want to do movie and you want to you bring out let's say figure of speech that can be attributed to something. In the full documentary, the data you made mention will be presented. Like there's a World Bank study because year 2000, Jakarta, Indonesia, the government of Indonesia came up with the decision to move Jakarta away, their city capital away from Jakarta, and created another city capital because they've been able to study and concluded that Jakarta is actually sinking at the rate of 25 centimeters per year. Based on this, the United Nations and World Bank experts decided to study most of the coastal city in the world. And Lagos, Mumbai, New York, Cairo, most cities were studied. And Lagos, they are concluding evidence that coastal erosion, sea level rise, subsidence, and also over abstraction of groundwater, it's contributing to Lagos also being part of the city that is going under the water. So the full documentary will show what we have been able to learn and data that we have available. And that's why the title is Lagos sinking, not only because of coastal erosion, or also because of their other things that you have also mentioned, that the sea level is rising at an alarming rate. And if you look at most parts of Lagos, most parts of coastal Lagos, we are below the sea, the mean sea level. So that's why we decided to use the title. Is Lagos sinking? Not only Lagos, most capitals, coastal city in the world are sinking gradually, not only because of coastal erosion, but because of sea level rise, because of over abstraction and also subsidence. Last year, that a team from Italy came into Lagos and were trying to study the subsidence movement in Lagos. And basically, some of the challenges we had then is inability for us to get data. How many boreholes do we have in our coastal area? How many piling companies are doing? Can they make available their piling log, the data of their piling log, so that we can be able to see. But all these are what this documentary things to bring into limelight for everybody to see. Thank you very much. I think I have somebody who is raising up.
Yeah, let him ask his question. You can unmute him. Let him unmute. Let him ask his question. Mr.
Olushola, you're free. Mr. or Mrs. Olushola, you're free. You are.
God bless you. Well done, my brother. It is becoming so worrisome that since Nigeria has become a democratic government, we have not been able to pinpoint the evidence of democracy. If we have said it is government for the people, and I wouldn't know why they will keep cheating us, they will keep beating us, and they will simply say we should keep quiet, we should not cry out. We are dying, we are suffering, everybody is perishing, our livelihood are going. How long do we want to fold our arms? There are several ways by which we can communicate these things, because we all need to be responsible for ourselves now. But if your help is limited, there are other people that could come from another end to assist you. It's a cry for everybody now. We can't wait till the water subsumes us. If there had been things done in other countries, let's look into it and let's bring it out. We may not have a responsive government, but we can push them to act. That's just my thinking. If everybody starts to say, and there are different ways by which you communicate that they will understand. If you have been speaking your Turanchi, maybe you need to speak your dialect. And if the dialect will not come, let's beat drum, let's dance to them. Let's keep mobbing actions from left, right, and center. We should take it beyond the state government. If it is to mobilize people to go to Abuja to go and showcase the problem, let the pressure keep mounting from here and there. I believe there should be solution to this problem. There's no problem that is beyond that there's no solution for. So if we have seen that this is our problem, how do we overcome it? Should be our action, should be what everybody should be thinking. Okay, this is a problem. How do we go about it? Government, individual, everything. Let's highlight everything and let everybody start to act. Co-opt everybody that is having any part in the environment. Environment is born on the platform of a collaboration. Let everybody be involved and let this. I have never seen an environmental problem that they have said, okay, we've been able to overcome this. It has always been when the government is not responding. The government, who is the government? Are we not the government? So I want these things to even end. Any problem we identify, let's see it to a reasonable conclusion. You might meet hindrance here, but I believe there should be other way around about it. So I don't just want us to fold our hands that government is not responding, or let's just sing this song and let people hear. Let it go beyond people hearing. Let actionable program, let actionable result come up. And okay, when we do it at our own, and then we not take it to the government. Okay, see what we have been saying. This and these are what we need you to do. You can come to support us at this end. I think we should go beyond and even all the awareness we are doing. Do we have data for them? Because data has been the bane of this nation longest time. For how long do we want to remain on this? So I think we need to now get ourselves together. Okay, if it is one block I'm able to make, bam, write it down and let it be public. Because if the data is only known to yourself and not known to the public, it will not still be a data. Any data you have, make it public and let everybody know where they can find it. That makes it that we are working and we are progressing. Thank you very much, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Ma, for your contribution. Basically, that's the main idea. That's why we are doing this documentary. We know a lot of academicians, a lot of practitioners have done things on it, but they are just at the university. They are just in our library. So and we know social media entertainment is catching Nigeria very fast. So, and that's why we say, okay, let's use what we think, the way we can communicate to our people fast. And that's why we are doing this documentary. When we premiere the full documentary, we are going to come up with actions. We are going to come up with actions. We are going to come up with...
Hello, sir. Hello.
We are going to come up with actions that we will we think people will support. Thank you very much, ma. I think we have Mr. Oladimeji or Oladimeji Lawal, your hands.
Okay, good evening, everybody. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, sir. Continue, sir.
Okay, good evening. No, sorry, I came a little behind schedule, but I think a lot has been discussed here. Just like the last speaker alluded to, I would have thought that whenever we are going to be organizing, a forum like this, we should have endeavored to at least invite one of those policymakers, such that every discussion that is, the discussion and probably, decisions that we made here would go directly to where they will be needed. I would have thought, for example, that if we could have made effort to invite the Chairman Senate Committee on Marine Transportation, I guess, Honorable Sani, Eshinlokun, to be part of this conversation, it will go a long way in, achieving even more success than, we might have had now. That is one. Secondly, is that on the, erosion surge that we are speaking about, sincerely, I don't know if the idea of having forums like this is just to have it for the sake of it, because there have been several discussions that are centered around this ocean surge. And up to this moment, I don't know, but I have personally not seen, any critical steps that have been taken to mitigate, this conundrum. And just like the last speaker, rightly mentioned, we are just almost taking things for granted. People's livelihood have been lost on a daily, and because the majority of the preponderance of those who are directly affected don't seem to have a voice. So nobody is really understanding the degree or the level of challenge or challenges that they are being confronted to. Their lives and livelihood, is actually getting obliterated and going into oblivion, and we are just going to sit, and pretend like everything is well. I think with these few points, I should, be done for the day. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Like we said, we've had a webinar series where we invited policymakers, academicians, practitioners in the field, and we have opinion that yeah, we are talking, but let's start having actions. And the documentary it's part of the action that we part of the recommendation that came from the webinar series we had. Apart from us, there are a lot of people doing things. Honorable Eshinlokun was part of the discussion when Nigerian Conservation Foundation, Mr. Desmond Majekodumi, and Lekki Ekpe Resident Association come up with an initiative to tackle the solution. I have a clear knowledge that a team from Harvard a team from Harvard in partnership with Nigerian Conservation Foundation and some other NGOs are also working on it. Like I said, environmental solutions are not just a tick in the box. You need to carry out data, you need to get information properly before you can put up solutions. So if you don't have enough data, if you don't have things that will help you to put the right solution in place, it's like we'll just be wasting money. So basically, there are a lot of actions that are going on, both from government, from private sector, from individual. Some corporate organizations are also working on it, and we are also part of that. We're also part of these various initiatives that are going on. However, because the people that are involved are getting affected and their livelihood are getting affected, how do we help these people? How do we elevate their poverty? How do people houses are gone and nobody's helping them? And that is what this documentary it's all about. Thank you, Madam Taiwo. You can unmute yourself and speak, please.
I'm really glad to be part of this session. I've heard a lot. I know that Mr. Adedoyin has been on this coastal issue for some time now, and I really appreciate the work that you are doing because it takes courage to be able to pursue this kind of task to ensure that the state is saved. And what I want to add to it is that the work you've done, I think there's need for more advocacy, especially from the grassroots. Because while you were talking, you mentioned about the illegal mining of sand on the coastal area and all other things that is going on. If the grassroots, which I believe that they are the one that will first of all project this, because if they have an in-depth understanding of what will happen to them and which they have been seeing and been witnessing, it will go a long way for the government to give a listening ear. Because the workshop that we want to have, will they be involved? How will they understand? Because that will just be for the focus on the policymakers, on all other stakeholders that will understand. But the people that are that will be directly affected by this will not understand what you want to do. So my suggestion is that there should be a plan to carry these people along, whether to be engaging them and let them understand what is likely to happen and from what they have been seeing and how they can project this for the whole world. You know, in Lagos State, when anything that is going to affect especially the grassroots, the way you announce it, the way it is being projected everywhere on social media, everybody, look at the last cholera. Everybody is aware that something is happening. So if you can attack it at that, just like one of these commentators said, that to have carried maybe the media along to project this, what is being discussed today should be heard, so that people will start having an understanding what is going on our environment, especially in Lagos State, the coastal areas. Because most people do not know, they just want to do their own thing and move. So, but if there's people made them to understand that these are the things that are likely to happen or will happen eventually, I think people will start having a better orientation and supporting this course to ensure that Lagos is not wiped out, because that is what will eventually happen if something is not done urgently. So my take here is that let there be wider advocacy, let this grassroots be worked on, so that they can even be the one to shout more and they will hear. Thank you very much for all the work you have been doing. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Ma, for your comments. We will do more of advocacy, and immediately the full video comes up, that will be the next line of action. Thank you very much. One day up next to you.
Thank you very much, everyone, for your comments. The next thing is from Mr. Lasisi to do the closing remarks and a vote of thanks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Before we do the closing remarks, I think we still have our giveaway card. We still have our giveaway card. So while this is going on, we want to thank each and everybody that has been part of the 3rd anniversary, especially our special appreciation goes to Engineer Gombambi for the depth knowledge of the interplay between the rivers and the ocean. His contribution today has really helped each and every one of us to understand what's the interplay. He was able to chronicle how the history of the coastal erosion started. He also gives some of the explanation of what can be done to solve this issue. All these things are what we will take up with various government agencies and also make our voice heard. We want to also thank Mr. Mayowa for the exhibition. And from the exhibition, we can see that apart from the livelihood of the people, it's affecting their way of life. Look at the picture of the woman who said just lost the baby a day before the photograph. We cannot imagine the psychological trauma the woman will be going through. So we for everybody who has able to join us, we thank you all for the opportunity for us to celebrate the Independence Day with us. It's a call we want to do. We actually want to protect the environment. We don't have another planet to stay. We still have planet Earth. So let us just put our hands together. Let's make environmental communication, environmental education very, very key. Let's educate the younger ones. Let's educate the younger ones. Let's put our hands together so that we can make the world a better place. Thank you all. We'll see you next time. Thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Just before you go, please follow us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you can watch the premiere again. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye-bye.